Hey everybody, this is Munson Steed and welcome to Star Studio. There are stars and there are franchise stars. There are billion-dollar stars and you're now looking at one. I'd like you to meet one that I'm super proud of. He is truly committed to this art form. It is one, Greg Tarzan Davis. How are you, brother? Welcome to Star Studio, rolling out.
Man, I'm doing good, and thank you for having me. This is really an honor.
It's an honor to see the next generation of young actors really making a difference. But being on a billion-dollar franchise, but still steeped in understanding that you've nurtured young souls and committed time, even in the classroom before you got to Hollywood. What's that like knowing that you doing this whole trajectory of healing and then showing?
Man, I've always been, and this has been an example that my mom always said, like, words don't mean anything. It's about setting an example through your actions. And that's kind of the reason why I said, let me go after my journey, my dream of becoming an actor, because I was telling my kids, look, yo, you can be whatever you want. You know what I mean? We always tell kids that, but do we really mean that? You know what I mean? Because, as adults, we always say, yo, go ahead, dream big. But we don't follow our own dreams. And I didn't want to be that hypocrite saying one thing and not doing it. So I gave it a shot. And now, I think like 7, 8 years later, I've done three blockbuster films, which is really crazy to me because my doing it big was like, hey, I'm gonna get my first co-star. So I was happy to sit there and tell my students, like, look, check me out in Chicago PD. And then, a year later, I was able to say, check me out in Top Gun. And then another year after that, it was like, check me out in Mission. Then another year after that, it was like, check me out in another Mission. So, this all coming together. I I'm glad that I'm able to use myself as an example for the young people that I communicate with, not just with my former students, but with different youth groups that I work with, just to say, like, man, I was in your position at one point in time, and my life changed simply because I decided to make the leap, take the leap of faith, and take my life into my own hands and make stuff happen.
I like that you say that, but there are things that you achieved.
Mhm.
And what is it like to really set goals as an actor and to study the game of acting?
I think a person who doesn't have goals are aimlessly walking in life. And because you need something to motivate you to get you up and setting goals for me, what I like to say is set them huge, ones that scare you. And it's not something that you're necessarily going to accomplish tomorrow, but you're going to accomplish it down the line. And if you keep that goal somewhere in your mind, one day you're going to look up and you're going to be like, oh, damn, I'm here. Wow. You know what I mean? You don't even realize that it's happening. But as long as you keep it in your subconscious, it's there. And to train, what was your second question? You said train as an actor?
Just really train. And I guess to go back to even just the whole idea of discipline and martial arts.
Yeah. Oh man, what I think I have an advantage of over a lot of my peers in this acting industry is I'm hella competitive. You know what I mean? I have a sports background. I love to win. And you got a lot of actors around here. They won't be humble and stuff. And they scared to say that they won't win 6 Oscars. They scared to say they won't be the biggest movie star ever. They scared to say a lot of things because it's like frowned upon. Like you have to be humble. And I'm here to say I don't give a goddamn. I'm a competitor. I want to be the very best. I want to be the biggest and brightest movie star. That's what carries me through. You know what I mean? Like I said, it goes back to the goals, and it's something that keeps me disciplined. My martial arts background, my sports background, and that's when I said I have the edge over them because it's me saying I know, hey, if I continue to do this drill over and over and over and over again, I might suck at it now, but eventually I will become great at it. That's the same thing with my speech, man. I had a heavy New Orleans accent. I still, and right now we cool, so I'm just like, talking whatever, whatever. But I had a heavy New Orleans accent, and I was like, all right, let me just show up every day, work on it for 2 hours a day, and eventually people won't even know I'm from New Orleans. And sure enough, boom, it's not gone, but people will question, where you from? Where you from? You know what I mean? That's the discipline aspect of it.
Well, I think, but New Orleans really gives a lot of insight because there's some greats. I mean, when you think of Satchmo, conquered the world,
Hmm.
right there from New Orleans. When you think of Winton,
Hmm.
conquered the world. So it's a beautiful city. Had a black mayor way before it continues to move forward. Has black HBCUs. How did that flavor and that gumbo of heritage feed your soul so that you're not surprised and know that there was always a guiding light for you to conquer the world?
I have the inspirations, let some of the people that you just named, and I continue to run into, we have Anthony Mackie, we have Calvin Harris, more that are around my age as well, that are doing some great things. But I think New Orleans is so unique. I say it's its own country. So when people be like, "Oh, you from Louisiana?" I'm like, "No, I'm from New Orleans. That's something different." You feel me? Because it's so unique, and because we raise unique individuals who think different, who speak different. I think that sets me apart in this industry.
When you have the ability to think about the places that you've been, you've
Mhm.
literally had a control, power, destiny figure that you've always been. What's it like to know that as a leading man, you're walking in the room with power, with insight that others don't know, so your characters aren't certain of who you are, and then you get into character? What's that like for you?
You got some real good questions, man. God damn, these are good questions. Um, I had to let me be real with you. The goal is to be the lead man, and I was trying to find my footing on like, man, what is that? What does that look like? You know what I mean? And then you deal with so much rejection, and you start questioning. And that's what we all do. It don't matter how confident you are. You start questioning, like, damn, is this for me? Am I gonna be that lead man? Will it? Blah, blah. But then you shake it all off, and you're like, nah, this is me. And when you tell yourself you are this, and I don't know if I'm answering your question properly. I'm answering it the way I think I'm interpreting it. But when you tell yourself that you are that leading man walking into the room, you walk with a certain aura, you walk with a certain confidence, and there's nobody that can tell you, otherwise. You don't have that sense of doubt. Um, and I think that shines on anybody. That's why we love the great. That's why we love Tom Brady. That's why we love Michael Jordan. That's why we love Tiger Woods. They walk with a certain type of aura, like I am him. And I study these greats. Tom Cruise, the same way. Like I study these greats. They know how hard they work. They know, and it's not. Yeah, it's not like they just like, oh, I'm great. No, they understand how hard they work. So you can't chop their legs down and say you're less than what they believe they are in their minds.
You know, you've been international. What has been the best part about now being in something that's a $1 billion play that the world is seeing this young man from New Orleans and saying, you know what? Welcome to you.
um, I had never been. I Before I started filming these mission films, I had never been out the country like that. I've been to Mexico, you know what I mean. I've been in the surrounding areas where North America is, but I never been across the water. I never been, to London or in these other places. So I've been fortunate enough to travel the world, just filming these projects, and then I've been able to, because we're promoting, I've been able to travel like that, and that's been one hell of an experience. But to be a part of this $1 billion franchise. Um, uh you get to see something that I get to see something that I had never seen before, and I'm excited to see what doors, because there's so many layers to this stuff, man. Somebody will sit there and say you need to be happy with this, like this is great, like you are there, but I'm like, man, but there's more. I seen it all, man. And when you see it, you like, all right, let me go run and get that. You know what I mean? So
No,
so
I think it's one of those things where you say, not only did you see it, I had a taste of it.
I had it.
I have a taste of it. It's a whole different thing to be watching, but they did that for me. When I
Yeah,
walked in the room, they did that for me. And I saw what
yeah.
they did for him, and they can do that for me. So
Mm-hmm.
I have an idea of what that is. And I'm so proud of your generation because y'all are seeing things. And we just had Sinners play, and you clearly had the young brothers, and they're like, this is a possibility. Greg Tarzan Davis can direct, can star, and own a film that does $1 billion, and you can get behind him.
Mm-hmm.
When you taste it, it's something different. That's a new gumbo.
That's the new gumbo. Yeah, let me tell you something. When I watch people like Michael B. Jordan and Ryan Coogler, those like I want to be what they are to me. I want to be that to other young black folks and stuff like that, because they motivate me, dude. I sit there and I see it, and I'm like, yo, this is outstanding. Michael B. Jordan is not only acting, but he is the movie star. I don't want to just say like categorize him, oh, he's the black movie star. No, he is a movie star, but he represents all of us as a collective. You know what I mean? I want to say he's probably the only one that looks like me that's a movie star, but he shows me that it is possible to be there. Then you have Ryan Coogler, who's a genius at a young age, doing things that we, when you think of great directors, you name a Martin Scorsese, you name a Christopher McQuarrie, you name a Christopher Nolan, you name these people, but none of them are black. But Ryan Coogler is the one who's doing it now. We're putting his name in that same category, and it's like, man, if he could do it, I, I can do it as well.
The wild thing is, and he has a number one. Like when you got that number one, it's like that Tom Brady ring you were talking about. I got a ring. Now, I don't know how long you played the NFL. I got a ring. Ryan can say, "No, I got a number one at the box office." Now we can start that conversation. Let's just start the money conversation. Was it number one that week?
Yeah, yeah.
You guys have had big weeks. You're
Mhm.
going to take the world. What's it feel like when you sit back and tell young people now this is a possibility? You can live your dreams. How's it feel living that dream versus dreaming the dream?
It makes me more hungry because I sit there and I'm like, man, I was able to do that. I was able to manifest that. What else am I? What else can I manifest? And so I like to with my movies so far. I've done three, Top Gun and both missions, and I like to take it back to New Orleans, just do a little screening and stuff. And I want the screenings to be bigger. I want to have like proper premieres, but I take it back to New Orleans, and I have like the youth, different schools that I've been involved with, different youth organizations, different young acting community acting classes, and I show them, and I'm like, man, look at this, man, I'm on screen. And the other day I wasn't there. The other day I was in classes with some other people, trying to get to that point, and I'm here. What that's like for me is it keeps me hungry. It keeps me hungry.
Yeah. And shout out to Spike. I mean, I want to just say his name just because. Like
That's
at
like
the end of the day, him and Samuel L.
it.
Just
Man.
just so that we can say it, because when I see you in franchises, I'm like, wow, he can be where Sam is. Obviously, future Sam in terms of
Let me say that because you just reminded me of something. I never met Spike. I met Denzel for the first time, which that's listen, I call him my grandfather. That's my guy. He's the reason I became an actor. And then I met Samuel L. Jackson early this year, and we had a nice like 2 hour convo. And these two people, they are all about helping the community, and they were so willing just to give me advice. And it was like, yo, this is what you could be doing. Never saying this is what you should do, but hey, this is your future. Kick them up and go down. You know what I mean? Like you take control because they are there. But that's other examples that we have in this community that I'm very grateful for.
if you were there getting ready to give a commencement speech at Xavier,
Hmm.
you were going to challenge them to move and create their life as a film, what would the title of your speech be for that commencement speech at Xavier be? And what would be the three things you would challenge them to do for this world as a movie?
Hmm. Ooh, what would be okay? Hold on. Let me start with the title piece. Let me see. It would be okay. No, we're not gonna start with the title. We're gonna start with the three things that I would challenge them. One, I would say set your goal. That would be the first thing. Next thing I would say, create the plan. And then the next thing I would say, attack. Say, shucks. Damn, you gotta give me some time to think about this. Commencement speeches don't come off the top of your head. I gotta sit there, go to the
Well,
drum roll.
and I think you shared it. Build your team, obviously,
Mhm.
around. I love the first two. Third, build a team. Now we just need that title.
This is gonna be so generic, but if you dream it, you can make it happen. That's what I got Zoom for. I tell my team this all the time because I have a wonderful team beside me that's helping elevate me to where I am right now, from publicist, groomer, videographer, stylist, and everything. And there's no small parts. We're all in this collective. And I'm like, I have to have people around me that believes in my dreams. You know what I mean? That actually sees where I want to be. and not just like the people that's like, oh yeah, ha, 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 yeah, we support you. And I've deleted a lot of people off my team because it was just like, oh yeah, we're gonna do, and they didn't really execute to that next level. But more than them believing in my dream, I like to have people around me that also have their own dreams. And my number one question to everybody is, hey, what's your 10-year? Where you see yourself in 10 years? Because that lets me know what type of person you are. That lets me know that you have a goal. I don't like to be around people who don't have goals and who don't have visions, because that means you're stuck in this one spot and you're never going to grow. And if you're not going to grow, you won't elevate me. You know what I mean? So I'm very calculated on making sure that I surround myself with people who are ambitious and who are hungry, and nobody's gonna be as hungry as me because I'm starving, you know what I mean? But I need you to have an appetite just as almost just as bigger than me. You know, if I can find somebody with a big appetite to me, that's even better. But I really tell a lot of people, yo, find your circle. Uh, that's going to push you, that's going to elevate you, but you also have to do the same for them.
Everybody asks, but whispering, what was it like? There's this phenomenal woman. Obviously, I would like to be on set with her one day, Angela Bassett.
Oh,
But what was that just to like have that? And they make her auntie, but as a black man, she could be 18 at 60 for me. She's there, and we
uh,
want to elevate our community, and obviously this queen. What was
mhm.
that like, and how did she whisper in your ear about this game, this business, you being a star? Obviously, she sees it.
So I had met her a few times before we started this press run together, and she's always been so kind to me, so generous and whatnot. But it's always been in passing. Like we were at town party, and that was my first time meeting her, and she saw me, and I'm dancing on the dance floor. She comes on the dance floor, and we start dancing. And I'm like, oh, this is Angela Bassett. We vibing. The night of the party. And then I met her again at an awards thing and whatnot, but it was always in like passing. And on this press run, we actually got a chance to really sit down and talk and get to know each other. And she is um, what you would expect, a queen, a beautiful queen, that is very supportive of me, but not just me, of other actors that are just like me. And I'm very grateful for that. And I got a chance to tell her, I was like, I saw you in number one on the call sheet, the thing that came out on Apple TV. And we don't really know what they went through to open the doors for us. We just sit there and we're like, oh, we're here. Yeah, we think we did it. But no, they had to take the licks in order to open the doors for us. And I just had to thank her for that. Her and her husband, they champion actors like myself. And is because I know I have that type of support. It's 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 reassuring that I am walking on the right path and that people are watching. One thing she told me, she was like, just know people are always watching. So whatever you do, there are eyes on you. She said, I've been watching you. My husband has been watching you. She was like, just know that. So hold yourself at the highest standards because people above you are watching and people are below you are watching. So you want to keep that same energy at all times, which is the positive, loving, caring, hardworking energy. And I mean that's why people love her so much. That's why she's so revered, because she has that in her own mind.
Hey, everybody, this is Munson. Had the time. Congratulations on another one, a
Thank
big
you.
one. This mission is possible. It is not just impossible. Greg Tarzan Davis, Munson Steed here on Star Studio. Thanks so much, Greg. See you in New York.